Okay, here's how simple the tribulation period is. Here we got right here a time frame. And Jesus said that after the tribulation period, you have the powers of the heavens shaken. You have the sun and the moon and stars giving us troubles and signs. And at this point here is when he says, I will send forth my angel with a shout. And this right here is what everybody's calling the rapture. It's the great gathering. It's the gathering up into the clouds. It's what Paul described. So this time frame here is the tribulation period. There are people out there who are claiming that this time frame is 7 years. And then you have people who are claiming that, well, the rapture takes place over here before this tribulation. Oh, I misspelled that. So the Bible tells us the rapture takes place here. You got people claiming this tribulation period is 7 years, and then the rapture takes place first, because they're saying that this tribulation is the wrath. And so this is a 7-year tribulation period for Israel, consisting of 7 years. Is that true? Well, no, it's not. Here, let me explain this. Okay, to understand the tribulation period, you have got to understand the 7,000-year time frame, which is what the Old and New Testament is about a 7,000-year time frame. Okay, this started because, listen, before the Sabbath day of rest, there was no prophecy. All prophecy started after this, and it goes forward to the end of the next Sabbath day. This is when all prophecy started. Okay, so what we have here, to understand the tribulation, you have got to understand this 7,000-year time frame. So this is about the time when Noah was around. This is about the time Abraham was around. So it was almost 2,000 years when Jesus showed up. It has been 2,000 years, or really close to it. We're within a few years of it, since Jesus, okay? But look at this. How much time is left? Well, there's another 2,000 years. Okay. The seventh seal in the book of Revelation talks about a period of silence in the heavens for how long? A half an hour. The phrase hour means time period, okay? And they just put an hour in there because that's what the interpreters wanted. At the time, that's what they understood. So silence is 1/2 of a time frame. Well, if you take the time of Jesus until the time of the end, you have approximately 1/2 of this time frame. So this silence for half an hour is the silence during all of this time frame since Jesus. This is the tribulation. And here's why. Here's why. Jesus said, immediately after, my arrows don't look very good, do they? Okay, Jesus said, immediately after this time frame, after the tribulation, the powers of heaven are going to be shaken and earth is going to see some hard times. And then, guess what? He sends forth his angel, and there is the rapture, or the great gathering, what people talk about. A lot of people don't like to use the word rapture. Doesn't matter to me. It's kind of referring to the same thing. So, the tribulation period started back here during a time of silence, because up until this point, God talked to people. He talked to a lot of people. His presence was known throughout the world. He talked to people. Now it's not known. You find out about God by reading the Bible. You don't find out about God by him talking to you. So you find about it this way, and that's what the tribulation is about. Whether or not you're going to seek him or whether you won't. And during this time, Satan is in control. He's the ruler. He's the ruler of the world. He's what Jesus called the ruler of the world. And he said, when I leave, the ruler of this world coming. This is the prince that Daniel was talking about, the second prince who brings on all this abominations even to the time of consummation. So the tribulation period is this time frame here. It's not 7 years long. Daniel wasn't talking about a 7-year tribulation, and neither was Jesus, because Jesus used the word tribulation, and he said, for in those days will be great tribulation, because he said after the tribulation, all these things take place, and then the rapture takes place. Now, these people who are trying to say, well, there's a special rapture that's going to take place before this tribulation period. No, that's not scriptural. Paul was talking about, he said, he was explaining how it was going to take place, not when it was going to take place. And a lot of people have said, oh, he's talking about when it took place. So this is why the tribulation has been in the past. People have been killed down through the centuries, millions of people, and it will continue until Jesus returns. After this, he'll be seen coming, but he will not return here. This is when he returns in Revelation 14:1 is when he returns. And a lot of people disagree with that, but the Bible says he is seen on Mount Zion in Revelation 14:1. And so the tribulation ends. The earth goes through a very hard time. Very, very hard time. This is in Matthew, I believe it's 24, 29, and in Revelation chapter 6 has a lot of the same scriptures in it, explaining the same thing.